I'm Larry Chang. How are you? Sun's not quite risen, but Jesus, he's already risen. Who are my special guests today? One is Bumblebee. Two is, this is Bumblebee right here, Buzz Buzz. I drew him. She's kind of chunky. This is a normal weight Bumblebee. Here, behind the chunky Bumblebee, is a starfish, flanked by two more starfish. In addition to so many guests, what do we also have? We also have terrific preparation work. We also have terrific content. We also have terrific methodologies and protocols that we can all subsist, learn from, and dare I say, windsurf, because nobody loves a paperwork war. Nobody loves paperwork. Nobody loves you. That's okay, because this lack of love, it's only temporary. Because with paperwork and war and winning battles, we're going to explore a slew of things that are counterintuitive, which is this. Having to file your position using paper, meaning having to defend yourself legally using paper, or intuitively using email, phone, or in-person exchange of information, where it's paper when you want it to be regular, and it's regular when you want it to be paper. So that got complicated in a hurry. What we're talking about is a familiar thing that you just quite haven't put your finger on, which is this. It's like dealing with a person who doesn't speak English super well. And when you're speaking English in America to them, right? They're purposefully misunderstanding you by saying, "Oh, no, no, I don't speak American. I don't speak English." And you're like, wait, so during the situations where you have an advantage, you understand English perfectly when it comes to your money. But when it comes to doing your job, all of a sudden, oh, I don't speak any English. Well, I didn't know I had to do that. Feigned ineptitude, fake not understanding English, faking the comprehension to understand the transaction. That's where you get screwed, and people are using their high and low understanding of English against you. That's also a paperwork war, where there are businesses, banks, there are businesses, the grocery store. There are definitely businesses called health clubs that make it impossible for you to cancel unless you write a letter and send it via the United States Postal Service. It's a sheet of stamps. It's Disney Pixar stamps. It's Buzz Lightyear. Doesn't matter if you're a fan or not. Doesn't matter if you're a fan or not. Because having to cancel a health club subscription using stamps, an envelope, and the written mail is an example of people, businesses using the system against you. How is this video going to help? Well, this video is called Psycho Saturday. Why? Because it's Saturday and we're going to go into a bunch of cool things that are useful in a way that other people won't be trying to improve themselves on Saturday. Keep on getting into it. Let's go. Which is having a fake translation of a interpretation of what was said. So in the prior example where people are using their lack of understanding of English against you commercially, what you're able to do now is not necessarily benefit from that, but also, yes, benefit from that. But what you're trying to do is you're trying to straddle two worlds, the paperless world and the paperwork world, where you're seeing that there are two worlds. There's AI and there's no AI. And having to win in two worlds is what you have to do if you were a student athlete. Problem. What makes being a student athlete hard? The athletics and being a student. What makes fintech hard? Financial technology hard? Well, it's half a foot in paperwork and it's another half of a foot in all electronic and paperless. So let's begin anew with this video as if this video's starting right now, which is what? Which is we don't know what we know to be true and not true. For example, the Charlie Kirk situation. We don't know any of that. And I'm not going to spend resources of yours in order to steal attention from you becoming slightly more healthy financially, slightly more healthy emotionally, slightly more healthy physically, which is why we can't absolutely rule out that it was an inside job. Let me repeat that. You cannot rule out that that was not an inside job because he's never been more popular or famous than he is right now. A bunch of people had no idea who he was until that occurrence happened. This is why it's Psycho Saturday on a Saturday, because we, Jeff Kendall, you're welcome, Jeff Kendall, welcome. Kevin from Chicago, chiming in. This is going to be a tremendously incredible video with the worst title ever, which is Paperwork War. Maybe you've never gained $800 from one Larry Chang video because I've been hyper focused on bringing money in. And let's say you just don't believe in making money or reading a book in order to bring money in. Jim Quick Limitless Book Club on the back half of Paperwork War, which is, let's now see the $800 in saved money out. Let me repeat that. Saving the money going out, which is, how do we do that? Is we get 3 stamps. We get 3 stamps. Each stamp costs 72 cents. Why are we using 72-cent postage? Did you know that postage now costs 72 cents?
Postage, yes, I know.
72 cents now.
I can't remember when it was 10 cents.
Right? Each one, 72 cents. each.
Last time I bought stamps, it was $15.
But then the forever stamps, like that was a good idea if you bought them at 49 cents. It was always good. No, it was always going to be one stamp is 49 cents. A forever stamp is you don't have to. You know, remember we used to add postage. We used to have to add 2 cents, a couple cents when the postage changed, and then they came up with forever ones. So that way, if you bought the ones, then you didn't have to add because it was a forever, right? Yeah. So the 49-cent stamps that we bought, young lady, it's like buying 48 cents for 72 cents. Yeah.
Not anymore.
You think that interaction was non sequitur, but it was so sequitur. Why? Because if you would have just bought into these things at under 50 cents, they'd be right now 78 cents, which is the value of this video. Is this is future information. This is future information today now. Let's bullet point future information as we take out the trash, as we take trash into treasure. Bullet point number 1. Having a stupid business for AI that makes a stupid amount of money. Why? How? By having an API call into the United States Postal Service. Whoa, 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 whoa. Are you mixing metaphors? No. It is a specific metaphor, which is AI people. We don't love the real world. It's like Dungeons and Dragons, where I'm your dungeon master and I'm going to map out some components of Web 12, specifically with paperwork in the integration. Don't worry about reading. I'll go ahead and just read it to you. Don't worry. No worries. We're going to have a good time. Number 1, canceling a gym membership. We already did that. Number 2, adding positive information. Number 2, adding in positive information, seeing as how this is a video of a live stream, which has never been done before, where we're doing a video. Number 2 is adding positive information to Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax. What are those 3 things, Larry Chang? Those 3 things are absolutely the devil incarnate, which is 3 credit bureaus. Remember, we're trying to win a paperwork war. We're not just trying to win a paperwork war. We are winning a paperwork war. How are we winning a paperwork war? Well, we're going to stepwise function into lobbing in positive information into the connected API call. Yes, not a mixed metaphor, application protocol interface calling. Hi, I'm Larry Chang, and what we're doing today is collecting things in a tidal wave of content called What They Don't Teach You in School. You're welcome, which is us pumping in positive information such as this starfish into 3 computer entities called Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian. How are we doing this? And is this AI? This is Asian intelligence. We're about to write as if we have a Sharpie, a name badge. Is this similar to Event Magic, where we're taking things that currently don't exist, putting it onto a piece of paper, and then winning at a paperwork war? Yes, Okay, what we're trying to do and doing by the end of this video is succeeding in two separate worlds. One world is an electronic world where it's virtual, it's faux fake, and it's web 2. It's super ephemeral, it's not exactly something that you can put your finger on. What we're doing here with the paperwork war is handling your aversion to sending mail, handling your, ooh, why would I want to write something down on a piece of paper? Or when I say paper, people think, oh, let's go paperless and let's save a tree. I love trees. In order to have 7 huge oak trees in my front yard and 30 in the backyard, I'm going to have to make a crap ton of money. That means in order to plant 80,000 pounds of timber, I'm going to need to do what? I'm going to need to cut down a baby sapling in the form of this folder, which is paper, and about 15 sheets of paper. So let's go over the math there because I love trees, which is in order to grow 60,000, 70,000, or 80,000 pounds of wood, I'm going to need to burn a tree not by lighting it on fire. I'm going to have to burn a tree by taking a piece of paper from a pastry bag and then writing on it. Because when our brains wire to paper, what happens is our brain improves. And that's why it's Psycho Saturday, where you think, oh, Larry Chang, he must be drunk right now because who brings all that paper and then a slew of stuffed animals to a YouTube video? Who does? This is who does. Is somebody who's using counterintuitive truths and, if I'm being honest, trash, because a lot of paper gets trashed, such as this pastry bag, which I repurposed into personal software, personal letterhead, personal treasure mapping. Because when you treasure map on your phone, it's gonna get lost with all the other pictures that you took one picture and then where you took one picture and then totally forgot about it. You forgot to send your friend, you forgot to touch it, you forgot that you were even there. And that's the problem that we're solving, where our phone's killing our brain. Your phone's not so smart, it's really just breaking your brain. And then together we get to do work on paper where now we plan our treasure map. Let's go into that for a brief moment, because the paperwork war is your brain operating slightly more efficiently, which is a treasure map. When I say treasure map, it's supposed to catalyze, stimulate thoughts of playfulness and play and reaching for goals as if you were a little kid. Remember back when you're a little kid, like 14 years ago, you're like, oh, I can do anything. And then you met the world and the world kind of sucks. And then you're like, hey, they killed Charles. Or, hey, this 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 program that I signed up for, it sucked. Or whatever it is that your phone's doing, that is not fixing your brain, which is why treasure mapping, it works. That's paper. So how does a treasure map work? How do we start with the baby smallest of steps? You don't necessarily take your problem. You don't have to take a real problem. You can take a future problem. Because if you took a real problem and solved it, you'd actually get demoralized because you'd be like, oh my God, this was so easy to solve my problem. I'm actually angry that I did not solve my problem earlier. Let's go over the counterintuitive truth of treasure mapping. When you actually solve a problem, you're going to get angry at the person who helped you solve it, mainly me. Why? Because your problem was actually super easy to solve. You just didn't really attack it using pen and paper. So we're not going to address a real problem. We're going to just address something that is playful, such as, oh, wouldn't it be great if I could run a marathon or run a half marathon, or a goal of I want to be able to jump 40 inches or 20 inches or 12 inches. So most people have a big, hairy, actually, that's not true. I was about to say most people have a big, hairy, audacious goal. And most people, they actually don't have that. What we're going to do is not necessarily do goal setting, because that makes YouTube people unhappy, because you're trying to find opiate, you're trying to find dopamine, whereas actually finding self-improvement and accountability, that's what you're trying to escape, and that's okay. What we're going to do with paper is track small improvements where we feel really good, much better than how we feel watching a YouTube video. You like that? That's not over promising and under delivering. That's actually going to be super simple, especially because today is Psycho Saturday. My YouTube series on what they don't teach you in school, doing seemingly psycho awesome things and saying, gosh, how did that even happen? Which is, I need to eat more fruit. So let's say that's a truth for you. Let's say that's a truth for you. So using a near $0 notebook that's less than $1, what we're going to do is we're going to trace, track, and keep ourselves accountable. Not to allude to James Clear Atomic Habits, not to put the onus and burden on you understanding BJ Fogg, where small habit, small habit, small habit, small habit, boom, big result. Not to put a momentum component to these videos, which I do on Wednesdays and Mondays. If we've never met before, hi, I'm Larry Chang. Taking these little things and DJing them together is what we're going to go ahead and bullet point, which is doing over hypothesizing. When these videos, the reason they're kind of low in popularity but high in loyalty is what? Is because I stress doing over hypothesizing. I stress not just accumulating knowledge, I stress parlaying that knowledge into one succinct small thing. Earlier, we talked about licking one postage stamp. And since postage stamps are so inconvenient to buy, I will actually send you a blank envelope with one stamp if you text message or email me. Why am I doing this? Because doing over hypothesizing is breaking the fourth wall. The fourth wall is this wall where I'm talking into the camera. The fourth wall is where there's three walls inside of a movie studio or TV filming area. There's three walls. Breaking the fourth wall is letting the watcher know that I'm looking at you. This is doing over hypothesizing, because the hypothesis is just the theory, the thinking component of a YouTube video, versus the doing component is, oh, we're going to need to take action on this. It's a small level of action. So here's an example of doing over hypothesizing. Let's say there's a speaker at a university. Let's call him, I don't know, Charlie Kirk. And he says, this is the ability to contact me if you have follow-up questions. So, of the thousands of people that are, good morning, look at your puppy. There's no barking. Hey, there's no barking. There's no barking. Brady, there's no barking. Brady, there's no barking. What's wrong with you? Is there barking ever? Is there ever barking? Is there ever barking? Brady, she's cuter than you. Hey, there's no barking. Where the hypothesis is easy to get lost in. It's called lost in the sauce, where all you're doing is just going from cognitive growth to knowledge graph to mentor hopping. Like, it's so deliciously amazing to feel like you're learning. And to make the audience happy, what you do is you make people think that they're thinking. It's not a form of manipulation. It's a form of brain surgery where you're removing other people's brain by having them think that they're thinking. What these videos are is doing over hypothesizing. Let's go over some examples that we can do to solve doing. The smallest do, which would be writing down today's date, September 13, 2025, Larry talked about a paperwork war. Or this is the first time that I met a YouTube influencer, a YouTube content maker who didn't ask me constantly to subscribe and like. Look at how few a number of likes that I have. And this video could be one of better than some of those videos that get 25K likes. Because instead of trying to get subs and loves, love and subs, sub and loves, sub as in subscriber, love as in liking, sub and love, which is, we're not trying to get sub and love, which is kind of funny. We're trying to positively, Jeff, thank you for participating. Thank you for your doing. Even a comment, that's a do. But then commenting helps me. That's not good, because me is self-helping myself. This is me helping you. Stop it. Actually, somebody can't count. That's okay. Which is 6 now. Nope, not 6. Which is doing over hypothesizing with getting slightly better at some small task. For example, sending one piece of mail and photocopying your driver's license to Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax to their official FTC, Federal Trade Commission sanctioned website called annualcreditreport.com. Let me repeat that. It's annualcreditreport.com. Why is it not free at freecreditreport.com? That's just the counterintuitive truth of good morning. That's just the counterintuitive truth of trying to fudge up you, trying to fuck up people by giving the free one at annualcreditreport.com. Oh, she's so cute. Brady, no barking. Brady, no barking. Brady, stop barking. Stop barking. Stop barking. She's so cute. Look at her cuteness.
That's what doggies are supposed to do.
Can she say? Can he say hi or no?
Huh?
Can he say hi?
Yeah.
Okay, Brady.
Hi
No
there.
barking. Look, she's scared of you. Oh, not so scared. Brady, wag your tail. Brady, wag your tail. Brady, wag your tail. Nope. No. 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 Brady, say hi. Brady, say hi to the young lady. Brady, say hi to the person. Brady, say hi to the human.
She's busy.
Brady, say hi to the human. The human thinks you're a bad dog right now.
He's busy.
Okay, Brady, back. Okay, Brady, back. Come here. Up. Come here. Be a good dog. Come on. Come here. Up. Nope. 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 Brady, up. Up. Good boy, buddy. No barking. See? No barking. No barking. No barking. Because what happens when we bark? We lose opportunities. Ditto when we do the hypothesizing only and we don't do the doing and execution component of it. That's okay. Maybe there's a delay. Because what happens when, let's say, you're a person named Charlie talking on campus and you give people your contact information? Fewer than 10% of people actually end up sending a message to follow up. Why? I don't know why. Because each message gets a response. But what happens is mentally in your brain, you're thinking, you're thinking mentally in your brain that there's a delay from you sending the message to you getting a response. If there's something that can fix your brain better than a double snot rocket, that would be not needing an immediate response when you send a message. Because our brains are wired to you say something and then immediately getting feedback, which is why so many people have talked about the latest kill or the latest it bleeds, it leads, because then you get an emotional reaction, which is why the number of viewers here is so low. Is I will not react. Why? Because I'm coaching you to wire your brain similarly. Look at how many people that regularly watch my videos came onto Paperwork War, how to win a paperwork war, and then talked about Charlie Kirk. That's because you get an immediate response, and then that's how your brain is wired is oh, if I talk about gloom and doom, somebody will respond immediately to me. Does that financially help you? No, it financially assassinates you. Just take your future 13th bank account, your second bank account, and your fifth bank account, and just point a gun at it and just say, boom, bank account number 5, number 4, you're dead before you even got born. Why? Because your brain is wired on doom and gloom. Yes, hashtags. How does hashtags enter this conversation? And is that completely non sequitur? No, it's completely sequitur. Why? Because what happens is people are trying to enslave you with a prison with no bars. You're in prison right now if your attention is being sapped away by non positive things. That's why we're doing Psycho Saturday. What's Psycho Saturday? Is where we take things that are trash, meaning trash paper, trash whiteboard that I found by the trash, and general trash, and we're DJing that trash into doing something small here on YouTube. We're doing something small after we hear something, we're going to execute something. That's how a hashtag is, for example, hashtag LABCS 3366, which would be what would TK do? Who's TK? It doesn't matter. It's just a similar thing to what would Jesus do? What would Larry Chang do? What would TK do? And so the doing component is you're going to have a what would blank blank do, and you're going to write it down. So tell me who you want to either make fun of or think about, which is what WWJD, what would Jesus do? So let's replace Jesus with blah, blah, blah. Who would that person be? And there you go. That would be you. That would be you with your quasi joke satanic cult. That would be you. And your jokes are hurtful, not to me. I benefit from that because you leaked out that that's kind of what you're curious about. Why? Because in a hopeless situation, you're thinking that a dark angel might actually care about you. So, what would Travis Kalanick do? Which is he would read something and take action. Remember, we're doing over hypothesizing. What we're doing is a lemonade stand business on a Saturday. Because is this a paperwork war or is this a treasure map where we say to a piece of paper, I'm going to take this tree that's already dead, make some money from it, and then be able to plant 9 large palm trees in my backyard. Maybe 9 implies that you have a giant backyard, but let's at least plant 7. Let's plant 1 palm tree. In fact, if you don't have a backyard, and that's okay, we can plant a palm tree anywhere. Well, pretty much anywhere. So, what's a lemonade stand business that you can do and quit on Saturday? That would be palm tree migration, palm tree mitigation, palm tree trimming with a begin and end on a Saturday. This is Psycho Saturday. I'm Larry Chang. And why am I so happy with my views this low? Did I get banned? Nope. It's just where it is right now. But the good news is that this video, A Paperwork War, expands because it's recorded and people can access it non-live time, appointment based, non-appointment based, no appointment necessary. Access to www.duck9 is imperative because this video, so that way it doesn't receive a copyright strike, is put on private mode. And then I share the link at www.duck9.com. Is there a workshop that I'm selling because this content's amazing. Nope, there's no workshop. It's just us getting better video to video lemonade stand business. How's my sound? Paperwork war. A war with paper. Being able to bullet point some wins. This is how I initially got so into drawing cute starfish with paper. So instead of gaining and garnering an immediate reaction to the dumpster fire that is our world, we're going to go non sequitur and not need an immediate reaction to justice for assassins or justice for the doom that is our world. We're going to actually go completely sequitur, not in a sequence that you're thinking, which is why Web 2 is broken, which is us hanging out in a way that helps us remember September 13 in a way that's not Web 2. That's not you say something and I immediately react to it. The easiest one would be the assassination that took place on September 11th, because we, instead of chiming in on recent news, recent dumpster fire, recent thoughts, we are focusing on Psycho Saturday, a paperwork war, because your brain, it's getting hijacked by other people. And so when you're hijacking your brain to try to do what? To get an immediate reaction by saying pansexual neurodivergent shiitake, right? Because you feel like you don't even exist in the world unless you do something negative or positive. That's your brain on Web 2. And plot spoiler, this world's about to get way more crazy than it is right now. Like, our level of crazy is incredibly low, which is why paperwork war. You are a starfish, and your starfish, it's getting rocked because you're baking right now, and you're baking in fake kills. You're baking in a dumpster fire of news that engulfs your mind and burns down your ability to pay attention, which is why we're going to go from 0 to 1 positive video. You and I are going to go 0 to 1 you and I are going to go 0 to 1 positive outcome. Dwight On says, "Good morning." Dwight, good morning. How are you? It's good to see you. Let's go from 0 to 1 with a hashtag. Old way, hashtag used for sarcasm. New way is we're using a hashtag to get slightly better. Hashtag chapter 2 is number sign CH2, because many of us have used 0 hashtags. Most of us have never read a hashtag and then financially benefited from one hashtag. This piece of fruit is good for you to eat, right? What that hashtag goes into is health treasure. And health treasure is my hashtag on number sign CH2, which is an Easter egg. Because what we're doing in going from 0 to 1 hashtags is just like the process of going 0 to 1 billion, where the steps early on might seem inconsequential, which is take 1 page of notes, which is take then 2 pages of notes that then leads you to do 1 YouTube video, where we're mentally getting better by doing what? By realizing that a paperwork war seems like it's not for everybody, but especially for people under 30. It turns out a paperwork war helps you cancel a gym membership. A paperwork war helps you get off of the internet. A paperwork war helps you realize that a lot of businesses, their Achilles heel is you sending a piece of mail to their post office box, which is completely counterintuitive because we take our own personal mail and we're like, oh my God, this is all junk. But US laws require businesses to open and address each mailed in letter, whereas businesses are not required to answer their phone via, hey, I want to cancel my membership, I want to cancel our business relationship, I want to cancel you from a dating perspective. That's what you think you would do, and now you can just protect your legal rights by sending mail. That's a paperwork war. That's where if you win one time, you gain so much confidence. Here's an example. You have a debit card, which you shouldn't be using. You should be using a credit card, and you should turn your credit card into a debit card. Most people, they use their credit card as if it's a debit card, and that's not good. So let's say that there's a transaction that is illegitimate or legitimate. You dial up your own morality. You write a letter during a merchant dispute and you say, hey, I did not buy this hecklefish, even though you're in possession of said hecklefish. The credit card company now needs to prove that you bought that hecklefish and they have to send you mail back. If you do this in and around Thanksgiving or Christmas, the merchant is inundated and doesn't have time to respond. Therefore, when the merchant doesn't respond within 30 days, you win the merchant dispute. Don't be an asshole and dispute things that you purchased. But merchant disputes, they absolutely do work. What we're doing now is we're doing a legit form of paperwork warring, which is this. You can use stamps to add positive information to your 3 credit bureaus. Most people will never get stamps. What's Buzz Lightyear doing in this video? Buzz Lightyear is on a stamp. And Buzz Lightyear is going to co-star in a movie that comes out on June 18th. What you might do if you want to see the movie for free is write this down on a piece of paper, which is June 18th. Toy Story 5. Buzz Lightyear is in competition with Lily the lily pad. Is there going to be a starfish in the movie? Maybe. Is Hecklefish going to be in the movie? No. Hecklefish is not going to be in the movie, either as a cameo or in a non-speaking role. Lily, she's an iPad that's breaking kids' brains. Is there a country song that's going to be the song included in the trailer? Yep. Will I sing you the country song? No, I'm too embarrassed to sing my own country song in a Toy Story 5 trailer. Your phone's not so smart, it's really just breaking your brain. You like that? I know you do. You begged for it. You begged for it, and then that just happened. Because Toy Story 7 comes after Toy Story 5. And that's where we can hang out with a hummingbird who's enjoying songs to be sung. Do you want to hear it again? Your phone's not so smart, it's really just breaking your brain. And that's where we become better at our practice of fixing our brain. Because a couple of Buzz Lightyear stamps, number 10 envelopes, and my new best friend, this hummingbird, can do what? Can take us to point number next, which is going from 0 to 1 positive information going into a credit report. What does an 8,000 person class look like? It looks like success. And the way that happens is from a small amount of success, not from when a VC believes in you. I believe in you. It's not from when a celebrity likes your post. No. What it is going from 0 to 1 person who is positively financially impacted into somebody who's even more financially impacted with a march towards success. For example, starting a entrepreneurship week in a shopping mall. For example, Stanford Mall, California Entrepreneur Week. Bullet point number next, moving away from the theoretical into the practical and doing. What a great point, which dovetails into going out of between your own ears and getting outside your own head and having to have real world conversations in the same way that paperwork is a real world conversation and not a internet web 2. What basically a paperwork war in a paperwork onslaught is using web 12, where we're using things in the real world to have a real financial impact while investing $0 of our own money. For example, this coffee bean pastry bag. It's a pastry bag and I drew a starfish in the middle. That's web 12, which is you write something down, I read it, and then over some time, you read it. And there's a time delay. And what you're doing is you're wiring your brain to do quadrant 2 things from 7 Habits of Highly Successful People, which is things that are important to do, but not urgent. Look at how many people wanted to talk about urgent news and react to urgent news and join the maelstrom. That's not what we're doing. What we're doing is bullet point number next, which is no VCs to distract. This script is perfect. I just said we don't need VCs. VCs are distractional. Just DJ 2 pieces of trash and turn around a dumpster where the before picture and the after picture makes you feel better, where before it was a dumpster on fire with graffiti. Afterwards, you put the fire out and then there's no more graffiti. Small steps, habits. Yes, awesome. Do, execute, and do. Write on script, write on script. Eager newbies gaining $145 in revenue. This is super critical. Why? Because you've never made $145 from watching one YouTube video. People try to get you to pay $3,000 for a workshop. That is not what we're about. We're about eager newbies gaining revenue of $145. Point of failure, book citation. So you get away from the theoretical and you get right into the I told you so, but with a specific book citation. I didn't tell you so. This book page, it told you so. For example, somebody asks you a dumb question. Why do you love Larry Chang so much? Answer, you're asking the wrong question. You should ask better questions. Page 62, page 64, page 67, limitless. Gaining confidence from I don't know to CTO. When you gain confidence as CTO, you're using paper to gain that confidence. Because whether you're going from I don't know to CTO or I don't know to CEO, you're going to need to get off of zero results. You're going to need to get off of your current goose egg. Consulting. If you're a naturally bossy student, you can consult because you're naturally bossy already. Bullet point next. This is all upside. There is not a downside. It is all upside. For example, turning around an office building. You're not buying an office building to turn around. No. You're getting a percentage of the improvement of the office building. There's crappy office buildings everywhere, and we can't save all the crappy office buildings because majority of them are going to go bankrupt. But you can save 7 starfish. You can save 7 starfish. You can save 7 starfish. You can save 7 starfish, which is an office building. How do you save an office building? By adding in a movie theater, a shitty little small movie theater. Is shitty a bad word? Nope. Because right on cue, we're editing somebody else's turd. Next bullet point, we're DJing trash into treasure. I swear I'm not just making this up. I'm reading off of my script, which is perfectly timed. DJing trash into treasure. A commercial office building, it's a dumpster of an office building, not even on fire, because there's nothing there to catch on fire because it's that empty. Air just can't catch on fire. So it needs something in order to even catch on fire. That's DJing trash into treasure. Let's say you want to do a pop-up yoga studio or a rave, because nightclubs, people want to dance. And I'm not saying do a rave, but I am saying DJ trash into treasure. Next bullet point, the 5th epiphany. We're talking about a paperwork war. So you just take the Harvard PhD thesis, non-matriculated, and then you say, hey, how do I take this? How do I make this into how do I mush it? How do I memorize, write this out? So you take the article on your smartphone and then you take notes onto a piece of paper. And this piece of paper will be your manifesto, not, oh, I'm going to assassinate somebody and then write a manifesto. No, you're going to make $1 million and people are going to be like, how did you make 600 1000s? Well, here's my manifesto. I don't care about your pansexual, neurodivergent, crossover, dress, gender. What I do care about is how did you make money because you made money by helping other people make money. And if no one is going to tell you that for the next 5 days, 5 months, and 5 hours, know that you heard it only here because every other social media influencer wants to talk about breaking news. I have some breaking news for you. The assassinations, they've only started, just begun. Why? Because at every point in time, the assassinations spike ginormously. Why? Civil unrest. Why? Because the money's broken. Why? Because last time I checked, we're in 2025 and 2020s, 1920s, 1820s, 1720s, 1620s. I've so well mapped out the disaster of our world in the 2020s that I went ahead and planned using AI, AGI, all the same shit show that's going to happen in 2120s, except it's going to happen slightly faster because I called it. So that 2120s disaster, that's going to happen 20 years later than when I think, and 20 years earlier, oops, I nailed it again because it's going to be kind of like gold bugs. People who advocated gold, they're just 60 years late. Is this the fact of you're wrong if you're too early? I'm not judging, but what I am saying is the fact that you can edit somebody else's turd. You can realize that the world, it's going to be default assassination mode for the next long period of time. Why? Because I also read Ray Dalio Principles. This is cyclical. This is what happens when the money dies, is that you need to control citizens. This is you uncontrollable. This is you with your brain on Psycho Saturday. How valuable is this video? Incredibly valuable. Why? Because you can self-improve while everyone else is distracted. We're going from I don't know to CFO, or I don't know to CEO. And if you just want to use AI and do the most basic thing ever, it's I don't know to CTO, which is having to ask questions of a person who has technical problems. Right now, 99.9% of people in this world, they have a technical problem. Why? Because they haven't met and learned from Larry Chang, and that's a problem. Is this you watching this video and not liking yourself? Yes, because the like number got stuck. Do I need a like number over 10? No, but I'm judging you harshly for when you don't like yourself enough to like yourself, which is I don't know to CTO, because problem, AI, AGI, problem, EUTWM, PPM, problem, hashtag external API. Most people don't know of these technical solutions. You're a solution hunting a problem. This usually doesn't work unless the solutions that you came up with are Larry Chang Web 12. Who came up with Web 12? The same guy who came up with Web 5, Web 4, and Web 3. Why? Because I learned it from Tim O'Reilly and Mark Pincus, Web 2. This is us being able to hang out and avoid the doom scroll of, oh, the world's falling, the world's ending. No, during depressions, Great Depressions, secret depressions, and hidden recessions, is a transfer of wealth. When that transfer of wealth happens, there are losers, there are more losers, and there's winners. This is us in the losers bracket because that's why I'm so excited to be here on YouTube. We're in the losers bracket right now. I'm king of the losers bracket. Look at how many views I have. Look at how many viewers I have. If there's a person in the losers bracket who seems like he's AI, that would be me because I'm so enthusiastically giving this content for free with so few number of users. Am I going to gain any new subs after this? I don't care. What I care about is putting this to paper. What I care about is laying this out as a timestamp. Timestamping is the golden nugget of paperwork warring because using a notebook, you can now timestamp something. That's critical because this video on September 13 is completely timestamped. Do you see how I'm taking video and I'm turning it into paper? Treasure map, Dungeons and Dragons. These bullet points are amazing because we're in a dungeon right now. It's just a prison with no bars. Our attention is currently getting jacked. Who am I? I'm your dungeon master because I'm saying you don't have to live in prison. You can choose to leave. You can choose to save yourself as a starfish. I threw you back into the ocean to save you because you're a starfish. On land, you're going to dry out and die. But every time I throw you back in the ocean, you happily climb back out and you're like, hey, Larry, did you hear that Andrew Tate slept with a girl who is under 30? Hey, Larry, did you know that hashtags are on X? I actually do know that hashtags are on X because the hashtags that are on X that are on Larry Chang, me, hi, I collect things on what they don't teach you in school. And the notes I take are here on YouTube and on X. I'm not saying leave YouTube. I'm saying look at one of my playlists and the hashtags that I bring up. You can benefit financially from those hashtags. For example, say thank you. Say thank you, which is your hashtag. That's the entire ROI for this video, which is like yourself. Hashtag CS183, CS like computer science, the number 183, such as the number of viewers on my channel, 3, CS183, PQRST. Preview, question, read, summarize, test. That's a hashtag that you can financially benefit from. And let's go from 0 to 1 sale where you make $800 and then you buy something that costs under $20, which is selling Jim Kwik's book, Limitless. Book costs less than 25 bucks. We're going to sell it during lunch and dinner on Saturday. Today, Psycho Saturday. Who's up for Psycho Saturday? Benefiting from a hashtag, hashtag CS183 PQRST. Speaking of Jim Kwik's book, PQRST is chapters 4 and 14. How spot on was this video? A little too spot on. Are you going to love yourself? Love sub love, which is subscribe to yourself, love yourself, realize in these topsy-turvy